Hello, everybody. Today we're going to talk about herbs that keep us young and vital and strong and resilient. So, if you are feeling tired or burnt out or depleted, then raysayana herbs are a really good place to start. So, let's talk a little bit about what we mean when we say raysayana, which is a term in Ayurveda. So rasa is juice, essence, sap, or vitality. And then ayana is path, movement, circulation, course. So it's the path of rasa, the path of our essence. It's the move what which moves and defines the essence. And so this is ultimately our kind of like juiciness. And it's not just our juiciness in the body, it's also like our juiciness in life too. So everything is always like the micro and then there's the macro. So improve the quality of the rasa dhatu, which is the first tissue layer composed of plasma and lymph. So rasa is the lubrication in the body. And if our rasa dhatu is not lubricated, then we're probably not getting enough nutrients to the rest of the tissue layers. And so that is why raceyanna herbs are so important, because it nourishes that first tissue layer, which then is responsible for nourishing all the rest of the tissue layers. And then it also supports proper circulation. So when we're well lubricated, that means everything is moving through the body properly. And therefore, it's going to be a lot cleaner and healthier. And then it builds our ojas or vital essence, immunity, and radiance. And you can think of ojas as like the container that holds us. And we want to have a strong, well formed, lubricated container in order to hold our life in, because life can be really crazy. And so when we have this like strong container to navigate life from, then we're going to be a lot less affected by all of the ups and downs. And then it promotes longevity, vitality, clarity, and rejuvenation. And so really the rasa dhatu is so important for our overall health and wellness. And so these herbs are such a great starting point when you want to try and build more vitality and have more of like a sustained energy level. So these are my top three favorite herbs, which is I'm lying to you. I could never pick just three favorite herbs. But I wanted to pick three important herbs to talk about here. And these are all of my favorites for sure. So ashwagandha is amazing. It's an adaptogen. It strengthens the nervous system and it builds resilience. And it's a great herb for men and testosterone function and men and their their sexual organs. And then but so a lot of times they'll say like ashwagandhas for women or men and shatavaris for women. But this doesn't necessarily have to be true. So I love ashwagandha, but I also love everything. So if you are a woman, this doesn't mean that you wouldn't do ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is great. I would say definitely give it a try. And then I would say also do shatavari. And as far as men go, yeah, you can never really go wrong with shatavari either. So but as just, as a basic rule, that's what we say. So shatavari is really great for the women's reproductive tissues, hormone health, and getting that deep, deep nourishment. So it'll actually help bring nourishment deeper into the body. And that's the same thing that saffron will do as well. Also supports vitality and improves the way the nutrients are received and assimilated. And so not only is saffron very moisturizing and nutrients itself, but it improves the way all nutrients are received through that first tissue layer. And so for saffron, you can sprinkle just like like 3 or 4 petals into your tea, just any tea you're making anytime, or you could put it in your soup. You can sprinkle this into anything and just constantly be adding this amazing supportive herb into all of your food. And just like 2, 3, 4 petals is all you need. So here's a list of raysayana herbs. So I just talked about ashwagandha and shatavari, and then there's also amalaki, haritaki, bibitaki, and all of these three herbs are basically the three herbs in triphala. So you could just take triphala. If triphala does disrupt you in some way, you could pick just like one of these herbs, or you could do them in different portions because in triphala they're all equal portions. So you can always play around with the triphala formula to figure out what works for you. And then there's reishi and lion's mane. And then over here we have more of like your more common herbs, tulsi, ginkgo, saffron, which we just talked about. Um, Most of these are adaptogens. We have licorice root, marshmallow root. These are very, very moisturizing. Therefore, we know they're very nourishing. And then skullcap, one of my all-time favorites. Such a beautiful, gentle herb, goji berry, and then, of course, rose. And you could make a tea out with any of these. Like you can put any of these things together in any portions that you want. There's really no right or wrong way to do it. I did have a recipe that I'm gonna show you in just a second to at least get you started. I often will just kind of do equal parts, unless there's something that I know that I want a little bit more of or less of or something like that, but it's not always that important. So sometimes just picking 3 or 4 herbs in equal parts is such an easy way to create a tea recipe without getting too crazy. So here's mine. This is 1 part tulsi, 1 part ashwagandha, 1 part licorice, and 1 part rose. And then I add a pinch of cardamom. So you can boil the tulsi, ashwagandha, and the licorice together and simmer for like 10 minutes. But then add the rose in after you're done simmering and just let it steep in the water for like 5 minutes. And then strain everything and add your cardamom, your pinch of cardamom, and there you go. So have fun. I would love to know if you try this recipe. If you don't like licorice, leave it out. If you want to sub the shatavari for the ashwagandha, please do. If you aren't like a big Tulsi fan, then put in skullcap or whatever your heart desires. And like, let's say you don't even, maybe you have 3 of these herbs, but you don't have all of them. Like, just use what you have. That's like totally fine. Like all of these things are just suggestions. And then at the end of the day, you're going to do like what you have and what's in front of you. And so I'd love to know if you make this tea. I'd love to know what your favorite Raysayana herbs are. And I hope you have a nice day.